Yellow's gone, green is on. It's time for the Boyds Speedway podcast, brought to you by Cindy's Choice.
Hello, everybody. This is Larry Dismukes with the Boyds Speedway podcast. I've got Brian Highfield on with me today from East Ridge, Tennessee. Brian drove in what is the most exciting race that we had in the Cabin Fever lineup. He drove in the Enduro race. If those of you who don't know what an Enduro race is, you're in for a real treat when you hear how an Enduro race works. Basically, there's no stopping unless somebody is potentially going to be seriously injured. They're pinned against the wall or the car flips and they're hurt. Otherwise, the race just keeps going until it gets to 100 laps. So I'm going to stop for a minute and I'm going to let Brian jump in and tell us, how did you get into Enduro racing, Brian? First of all, good day. Tell us how you got into Enduro racing.
So basically, I was looking for a front clip for an old F100 truck that I have, and the Crown Victoria is the perfect vehicle that you can take the front end off of it and put it onto the older F100 trucks, and it just bolts right up. So I found that Crown Vic that was going to work, and the guy came to my shop to sell it to me, and it just so happens that the car was a really good running car, and the gentleman told me about the race, the Enduro race, and he said you ought to run this car in it before you take it apart. He was just saying it's a lot of fun and whatnot. So kind of piqued my interest, and I own a fab shop, Lane Steel Fabricators. And so we easily were able to make a roll cage for it and get it ready to race. And that's kind of how I got into it.
Now, had you done any racing before on a dirt track?
No, I hadn't done any racing other than just going to the go-kart track with my kids and, when I was younger.
So what was it like the first time getting out on the oval and running the car? And I guess, by the way, a Crown Vic is the best car because you should tell all the fans that your car takes a beating in an Enduro race.
Yeah, it takes quite a beating. And the Interceptor Crown Victoria is the perfect vehicle for that.
So the first time out on the track, take us through it.
Well, it was just, I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't really that nervous, but I just didn't know what to expect, how the car was going to perform. I had only really worked on the car for a very little bit of time before I took it out there to the race. It had been sitting in a field for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
I got it. And I didn't even change the oil or the gas or anything. I just got it running and just went out there.
Filled it up, cranked it up, drove it out to the track, put it on the track and ran. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Made it 30 laps.
And then the car broke down?
Yeah, and the car broke down and it wouldn't shift gears, and I just pulled off because I didn't want to blow it up.
Yep.
I thought, well, maybe I'll just not kill it and race it again when I'm a little bit more prepared.
So you came back to Cabin Fever. That was your second time driving an Enduro race, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell everybody the story. You were determined. You were going past 30 laps this next go round.
Yeah, so that was kind of the goal for my second go around. I changed the oil, put some new gas in it, changed all the plugs, and tweaked on it a little bit and got it ready, and decided that, I didn't, you always want to win, but after just doing 30 laps, I was like, well, I just at least want to finish this time. So that's what I did. And it was a really good feeling. I felt like I won.
There you go. Now tell us, there was a point in the race where your hood actually blew up on the car, covered the windshield, and you still continued to drive the race.
Yeah, just I was out on the track and the hood blew up after I got into the little bang up with some other guys, and I was on the middle of the track. I wasn't going to stop. You don't stop on the middle of that track unless you. I just looked at the side of the track and just kept on going until I made it around to the pit area.
Had your head poked a little bit out the window, looking down the side of the track. How fast were you going, Brian, in the straightaway?
Oh, I mean, with my hood up, probably 60. I don't know.
Holy cow. Holy cow. That's crazy. That is crazy. That is passion for the sports, fans. That's a real passion right there. So what can a person get into an enduro race? What's it cost? You go get a clunker from the junkyard, you tweak it a little bit. What's the average person? Because there's a lot of fans that ask us questions about, hey, how do I get into an enduro race? How do I get started with this?
Well, I mean, you just got to find the right vehicle. It's just a matter of time looking for that vehicle. I mean, I got into it, cost me probably $1,200 or less, and I was out there on the track. So
$1,200
wasn't really that deal. I mean, I've spent a lot more money than that, going to the go-kart track.
Exactly. So just for the fans to know, that's $1,200 to bring the car out and run, and we paid $1,000 to win. $1,000 to win. So to everybody listening to this podcast, you too can be the next Brian and go pick out a car, tinker with it a little bit, come out to Boyds for the Shamrock Race because we've got an enduro race coming up. Are you coming back for the next enduro race, Brian?
Oh yeah.
You're winning this one, right?
I'm gonna maybe try to place.
There you go. We had one driver in the last race. You remember the guy that was driving the little Nissan? That guy was not going to give up. He was not going to be denied. He had 3 flat tires at one point and still continued to try to drive around the track until eventually he got stuck on the right there going around the wall at turn 3. But it's an exciting race. How many times did you get hit? How many times did you get hit in the race?
A lot. I mean, it's constant. Every time you get near somebody, you get hit.
Yep. And you got to pay attention because people get hit, their car breaks down, and those cars do not come off the track. So not only have you got to pay attention to getting hit, you got to be able to navigate the cars that are broke down on the track, right?
Yeah, that's probably one of the difficult things about it is trying to go fast, not get hit, and avoid the cars that are parked in the middle of the track. It takes a lot.
So what's the best advice you could give somebody who thinks they want to go and jump in and drive the next enduro race?
You better not be scared of nothing.
There you go. Because you're going to get hit, right? I mean, the crowd is
going to get hit.
Well, the crowd is almost cheering. I mean, it was crazy. The crowd is cheering for people to crash cars out there. And thankfully, look, nobody gets seriously injured there. So, I mean, you went through and took the proper safety precautions on the car. It sounds like you built a little roll cage to it. You had a good seat belt to it.
Yeah, I had a 5-point seat belt, roll cage, good helmet. The guard on the front windshield. Definitely want to do all that stuff because you could get hurt if you came out there unprepared.
That's good advice. Yeah, I think safety first, right? Safety first and 100 laps second and win the $1,000 third in that order, right?
That's right. Maybe we could raise the purse a little bit.
Hey, we could work on that. I'll go back and tell the boss man we want more enduro cars. We're going to raise the purse. But the Shamrock Race, we're going to pay $1,000 again for the enduro race. So you're going to get your shot. Everybody out there listening, you'll all get your shot at the $1,000 for the next enduro race. I know when John Schneider comes back, John wants to drive an enduro car in the enduro race, and his wife Alicia wants to drive an enduro car. And Cindy from Cindy's Choice is determined that she's going to drive an enduro car at some point. God help us all when she gets out there and drives for the first time on there. We're going to make sure that she's in one of those bubble wrap suits when we put her in the car to drive, not just to protect herself, but maybe to protect everybody else. We might want to bubble wrap the car, but this is great. So what did you think about the new group that owns Boyds? We put in a lot of time and a lot of work in a short period of 4 weeks to get the track ready and get the facilities upgraded a little bit. We're continuing to work on it over there. What did you think?
It was great. I didn't really have a lot of knowledge of who the previous owners were, but I met, other than Riley, he's great. And Larry was awesome. So the track looked good. The place seems to have come a long way since the one I was in last year. So it's exciting.
We are excited. It's going to be a great season. 27 races, one down, 26 more to go. And you're going to hear it here first. But for the Shamrock Race, we're going to have a concert on that Saturday. We're going to have the band Smith and Wesley come in and play at 1:30. So they're going to play from 1:30 to about 3 o'clock, and then we'll start hitting the track somewhere shortly after that. And should be an exciting time. Look forward to seeing everybody out there at the Shamrock Race on March the 13th. Brian, this has been great talking with you. Thanks for coming on the show. Any last parting words for anybody?
Thank you. And just if anybody needs any steel, come see me at Lane Steel Fabricators or follow me at Lane Steel Fab.
You got it. When I get ready to build my Enduro car, I'm sending it over to you, Brian.
I'll fix it up for you.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This has been great. This is the Boyd Speedway Podcast Show. Thanks.
Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in to the Boyd Speedway Podcast brought to you by Cindy's Choice. We'll see you next time.